We love to tell people about how we made our way out here to this very unique home. We lived in Round Rock in the suburbs for 25 years, and one day we saw an ad in the Austin American-Statesman about this log home. So we took a Jeep ride and came out here on a beautiful spring day. Bluebonnets were blooming, the windows were open, breezes were blowing, and we were hooked. And so we've lived here for 11 years, but now we're entering a different stage of life. Our children and our grandchildren don't live near. They aren't able to come very often. And so we really want to be in a place where we can be closer to them.
We're off the beaten trail. Our dirt road is half a mile long to come to our 15-acre site, and it's quiet. The style of home is a Swedish coping cut, and the kitchen has that. The exterior corners have that. I didn't know what that was, but the owner explained it to me with the style he chose, apparently. But the way they have done this, the Canadian men that worked on this, a lot of this was cut with a chainsaw on site. The truss in the den here was designed by the Canadians on site without a plan, and Russell was very proud of that. The larch tree tends to be a straight growing tree, and some of these logs are extremely long because of that. It fit well this size of a home. Some of the logs have been struck by lightning, and they're in a predominant place by design. It's a unique feature of the logs. Coming into the home, we knew that it would be about a 2-year project to restore it inside and out, and it was every bit of 2 years, which we were able to do. Enjoyed the work. I knew what we were getting into. In the beginning, I washed the logs of a darker burned type of wood, and you wash it with a power washer and a certain chemical spray. And then after you do that, I took that same power washer and sprayed a chemical as a bug sealant, and that was on raw wood. And then after the raw wood dried and was sealed with the bug sealant, then comes the sanding. And because each log is curved, then you have to hand sand the logs. Simply, you don't want to put a machine on it. And that was a large amount of work on the exterior. The most important product on a log home, I believe, is the sealant that is the last thing. It's like your wax on a car. And I did that with a brush, and that has held up very, very well. And therefore the caulk has held up, the stain has held up. Everything about the log exterior-wise has held up very well.
The former owners were very organic people. They love to bake, and so the kitchen has a unique feature in that the countertops are made for pastry rolling out. You roll out your dough right directly on it. And they included some other unique features for the kitchen, a very unique old wood-burning stove that they used to cook Christmas breakfast on. We never did. They also had an old telephone installed that they actually used. Each of the bedrooms has an antique dresser that's been made into a vanity with a sink. We have old doors and doorknobs everywhere. Our front door is over 100 years old and is from England.
I didn't mention the fireplace that we have here. It's a wood-burning stove. I've never had one before, and I'm going to miss that burning. On our property, we have some oak trees that cover this house, and it has protected this house from the sun and the damaging sun. There's I think there's 2 or 3 out here that are probably 200 or 300 years old that are not up next to the house. But our oak trees I'm very, very fond of, and especially the grove that this house is set into. The barn area is conducive to somebody who had a horse or a couple of horses. My neighbor kept his horse there for a while in the very beginning years. The barn is now the home of 2 owls that we have put a nest box in, so we have barn owls and have for a number of years. We have a pasture that's fenced. We kept horses, and I think we had a donkey and some cows in that is completely fenced. There's a shed I'm very proud of. It's my shed because I spend most of my time in the shed. It's maybe 60 by 60, concrete slab, sliding doors. My workbenches are out there. That's my room. Adjacent to it is a 3-car carport area that we keep our Jeep and a pickup truck and then the lawnmower. We have a creek that flows through our property, and we built a bridge over it. My neighbors and I, that was a community project in the very, very beginning. And the water in the creek flows at times. Sometimes in the drought it will not flow, as most creeks don't. But a little bit downstream there is a pool that is spring-fed. That is it's always had water in it, even in the bad drought. It's not on our property, but being the neighbors that we have, my sons go down there. They like that little spring-fed area. We are surrounded by wonderful tracts of land and wonderful homes and frankly, wonderful neighbors. We love our neighbors. It's a great place to live.